Welcome into the latest episode, the latest edition of our Cubs REKAP Podcast, the presentation of our REKAP YouTube channel, and available audio only everywhere you get your favorite podcasts. That's Gordon Wittenmeyer. He's going to have to wear it a little bit on this one. I'm David Kaplan. I'm going to be busy patting myself on the back. If you'd like to congratulate me with a measured, level-headed take, put your comments right here. It's all brought to you by our great partners at Sinus and SnoringMD.com. After that Bears comeback last night, the signing of Alex Bregman, I didn't really go to sleep till late because I was reading. Snoring wasn't a problem. And when I finally did fall asleep late last night, basking in the glow of Chicago sports for my two favorite teams, guess what? No snoring, because I went to Sinus at SnoringMD.com. And if you snore, have a sinus issue, allergies, do what I did. Sinus and SnoringMD.com. Take that.
Cap. Biggest comeback in Chicago sports on Saturday night. Caleb Williams or the Cubs front office?
Boy, that's a great question, Gordon. I'll pat you on the back on that one. Very good. Good question. Because last week when we recorded before Edward Cabrera, Gordon Wittenmeyer was not happy with the front office. Many of you out there, Cap, you need to rip them.
You were not happy with the front office.
And I said,
I was skeptical of the front office. Let's just get the words straight.
Well, I took the measured approach. Jed Hoyer is a smart guy.
When have you ever taken a measured approach?
I did in this podcast. And I said, I am not going to be critical until they go to camp and go, well, we didn't make any more moves, couldn't get anything done. Then I would have gone crazy on them. But guess what? I said, let's wait. We got 4, 5, 6 weeks to go. Let's see what Jed can cook up. And since then, he has said, Edward Cabrera, come on down. And he already got his contract done, avoiding arbitration. And then on Saturday night, as Gordon said, Caleb Williams leading this magnificent comeback over the Bears arch rivals, that team up north. Guess what they did? They signed Alex Bregman right out from under the Boston Red Sox. He will be your starting third baseman. 5 years, 175. Magnificent night.
Man, I tell you what, when we did agree on one thing when we taped after the Cabrera trade. We agreed that trade meant that they weren't going to, there were no free agent spending. Nothing was coming in on the pitching side. Mm-hmm. And we wondered if that meant that they're going to spend on a hitter, but I don't think either one of us were all that optimistic that they were going to go big, like big.
I thought they were going to have a great shot at Cody Bellinger.
That's what I thought was probably more likely. And yet this is the ideal guy.
This is the ideal guy because now you can use Matt Shaw at second base and trade Horner. I'm not advocating.
No.
I'm not advocating.
Do not trade Horner.
I don't disagree. I want to keep him. You could use Matt Shaw as your super utility.
Use Matt Shaw everywhere.
You can. You could also play him in the outfield.
Or trade him.
Or you could use him in a trade to go get a bat to play right field. No question about it. But if they still want to go big with another free agent signing, Cody Bellinger, for example, which would be an outstanding addition, and you're not going to extend Nico Horner, then that might be in play to get his $11 million off to spend $25 on whoever.
Now that you've got this guy, though, that makes no sense to me. Like what Nico brings to the clubhouse, the lineup is really valuable. They don't have a lot of that.
I'm not advocating for it.
Now that you got Bregman, who brings a lot to the clubhouse, a lot to the lineup, a lot to the defensive side of the infield, you don't need like this idea of another going big on another guy. You don't need to. You don't need to. I don't think you're going to, if you have to give up Nico to squeeze somebody else on, I don't think you're going to make a big enough improvement that's worthwhile.
Well, here's my
if you make an improvement at all.
Well, here's my question to you. What are you going to do in right field? Who is your opening day right fielder? Are you playing Suzuki? Then you are absolutely not prioritizing the thing that the Cubs have wanted to do over the last few years. Defense. He's not a great defender out there.
But as soon as you get rid of Nico, you're not prioritizing defense.
You're putting Matt Shaw at second, who is a Gold Glove caliber third baseman. He was a finalist for it. So you move him to second.
Bregman won one. just a couple of years ago.
Correct. So you now have a Gold Glove at third. You have a Gold Glove at short. You have a Gold Glove currently at second, and you got a very solid first baseman defensively in Michael Busch. You got a Gold Glove center fielder, a Gold Glove left fielder. You have a question mark in right field, and if Suzuki is out there, you're going with Moises Ballesteros every day.
Man, how you go with whatever works for the matchups that day, because I can't think of another team in baseball. I mean, how many teams would not trade for that defensive alignment? Like if they could just be assured, like all else being equal, we'll take that defensive strength compared to ours overall. I can't imagine. They're right at the top. So if you've got one position that's a little bit of a question mark, you're fine. And by the way, you're getting Justin Steele back at some point. You added Cabrera, who's got some great stuff. So
I was watching Cade Horton throw Friday down at the University of Oklahoma. He was on video. I mean, he looks like he's ready to start a game tonight.
So you've upgraded your pitching and you've upgraded your hitting by a lot, in my mind.
Well, if you have your starting rotation, and let's consider it's warm, it's summertime, Steele's back and he's pitching like Justin Steele at this point or close, you're going Cade Horton, Cabrera, Justin Steele, Matthew Boyd, Jamison Tyone, Shota Imanaga. That's 6 anywhere 1 to 5 guys. You've got 6 competent starters who can start a baseball game. Then add in Javier Assad. He could absolutely start a game. That's 7. Jordan Wicks could make a spot start for you. That's 8. Ben Brown could make a spot start or 2 for you.
And then you get
that's 9. And then you've got your number 1 prospect, Jackson Wiggins, rolling in at some point. You would think you have now given Craig Counsell absolute depth where you need it most in his rotation.
Yeah, and look, I've criticized a lot. I think you have too. This club, this ownership, for not spending, for not going big on something. This is in some ways this is bigger than, and I think you have to include the Cabrera deal with this too, because by making that trade, you gave up Owen Casey, and in order to do what you wanted to with the rotation in a way that didn't cost you a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And now you turned around and spent the money that you saved. They're going to be right around that luxury tax threshold, the way it projects right now. Mm-hmm. Once it's a $175 million 5-year deal, but enough of it's deferred that it's going to come in at 30 to 31 AAV, something like that, which is right there. And I give them credit. I give them credit. And I'd like to see them do more, right? For as much as the fans pay and where they rank compared to the Red Sox, Phillies, Dodgers, and the other teams that are going over the limit. 9 teams went over this past year. But the fact is they're at least going to that limit, and they're investing in a guy who, even if the rules change, you're going to have that guy in-house at that salary level after whatever the new CBA
the other thing that spoke loudly to me, because you could go out and sign a guy, if we're not in it, we'll just move him and get, hey, boss, we'll get the money off the books. They gave him, there's no opt-outs. He's here for 5 years, and there's a full no-trade clause. So he's not going anywhere, folks.
Unless he wants to.
Yeah, unless he comes to he's here. He is absolutely going to be the Cubs' third baseman, if he has good health, for the next 5 seasons. Now you've got Matt Shaw coming off, looks like an emerging season, rough first half, and then second half on, outstanding play. Could you pencil him in as your second baseman? You absolutely could. No doubt about it. Could you put him in a trade to go get a right fielder? You absolutely could. So we'll see what they do.
Or your platoon options and bench are strengthened.
No question. And then Nico Horner has 1 year left on his contract. Will they extend him? I'm betting they will not, but could they? No question about it.
Yeah, and the other side of this is, now, we said this after the Cabrera trade. As we sat there right then before the Bregman move, the Cubs had to be considered the favorites in the division, and maybe some of your buddies in Milwaukee who you go on the air with up there would argue that, but I think probably Vegas considered that, and now they're clear favorites.
Oh, clear.
And the other thing going on with the Brewers and the Cardinals and the Reds is
and the Pirates.
Well, no, those three in particular is the TV deal. They're among those 9 teams that ended their contracts with that
correct.
mainstream
so
sports.
Their TV deals are blowing up.
They don't have TV deals. They don't even have TV deals right now. So they're negotiating for whatever they're going to get, whatever table scraps they're going to get in TV money in 2026, local TV money. That's why you haven't seen the Brewers do anything. That's why you're hearing about talk like trading Freddie Peralta, and that's why the Reds haven't been able to do anything. You know who's done? The only team that's done anything besides the Cubs is the Pirates.
They've done a little bit, yeah.
The Pirates are going to be better, but the Cubs have put themselves in a position to be barring catastrophic injuries, to be in a better position, assuming they get to the playoffs than they were in 2025.
And the other thing is the Cubs probably now will see their win total projection go up. They were at 88.5 in Vegas right now if you bet it. And I would think, having won 92 games last year with a rookie third baseman that you had to send to the minor leagues and some of the other things they had to deal with, I would believe that the Chicago Tucker had a rough second half. I would think that the Chicago Cubs win total projection probably going to be 91.5, something like that.
And now it puts you right up there with the other division.
You're up there with all the big boys.
Division winners.
And now do you go over the top and go, oh, we're getting Cody Bellinger too? You would have to move money. I would think you would have to move a big salary, which would probably again go back to Nico Horner.
Quit trying to trade Nico. You've been trying to trade Nico for a year and a half, man.
I'm not trading him. I'm talking like an executive thinking what they're thinking.
If they're baseball executives, if they're smart baseball executives,
they're
probably
not
thinking about trading.
I'm just telling you, if you want to add
Not
another,
if you're trying to win.
If you're trying to add a $25 million salary, Cody Bellinger is the guy I'm thinking of.
You just added Bregman, man. You want everything. Yeah,
I do.
How about the closer? Yeah, go trade him for a closer.
No, I'm
right?
not going to do anything at closer right now. That you can add that on in July. They've added arms to their bullpen that are quality.
That's the way they should look at it.
Ian Happ, you're not going to trade because he has a full no trade clause. Pete Armstrong makes no money. Moises Ballesteros, I don't know if he's your everyday DH, but right now he is because you don't have a right fielder that would play ahead of Suzuki. And then you got Bregman, you got Swanson, you've got Horner, you've got Bush. He makes no money. Your catchers make no money. Your pitching staff is relatively set now. So,
and by the way,
I'm not trying to trade Nico. I'm just saying to you, if you're going to add on a $25 million or so salary in Cody Bellinger, you're going to move.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening. And for one thing, Bregman and Bellinger both have the same agent, Boris. And Boris tends to place his guys to leverage the max value for them. I don't think he gets Bregman max value by working this deal out with the Cubs and then turns around and tries to squeeze Cody Bellinger into it unless that's his last option. There's still teams out there in this sort of
depends. Some guys are trying to win
game that are going to go after these last 3 big hitters that are out there. So
some guys are trying to win.
I think this says,
and Cody Bellinger may say, I want to go back there.
I don't think that's the case. Not after he already did the short-term deals the last 2 times. That's not happening. He's looking to get paid now. And
what if you gave relatively the same deal you just gave Bregman?
With the Cubs?
Yes.
Well, he would take that. Sure, they're not offering. I would think he would take that. They're not offering that.
Okay, so
I'm not sure.
You don't know, but what I'm saying to you is, and again, I am not trying to trade our Gold Glove second baseman. What I'm saying to you is we could be realistic or we could daydream.
Okay,
being realistic, there's no way they're going to add a $25 or $27 million salary without moving some money off the books. The only guy you could move is your second baseman. And oh, by the way, your Gold Glove third baseman candidate, Matt Shaw, he could go play second base.
You could also just go over the
They're not going
taxes.
to. That's pie in the sky.
Well, none of this stuff is even worth talking about because, they did the move. They did the move. I mean, like, you want more than this? This is the perfect guy. Look, we talked about why he's a perfect guy. He's a perfect guy because he's a right-hander who hits lefties well, like better. And like nobody hits lefties the way they used to because there's so many more good lefties out there. It was a theme across baseball. I think statistically left-handers were better in 2025 than any time in the history of the game. There were more great lefties with great stuff, keeping the ball out of play and keeping hitters contained, right-handed hitters too. So he's a guy that helps alleviate that. The Cubs were one of those teams that struggled. This guy even just last year, he hit almost 320 against lefties. And in career, he's 10, 11 points better than he is against right-handers with what I got here, 20 some points higher on his OPS. And last year, he got on base against lefties at a 420 clip. So this guy is exactly what you needed for the lineup. He's a glove that makes – he's even more reliable at third base than Shaw is, both sides of the ball. And the other thing is, like, if you're talking about, like, well, who's going to play right field? So you just got certainty in a perennial all-star Gold Glove type guy at third, instead of hoping Matt Shaw comes in and does more of what he showed last year when he was good than when he wasn't. You move him to a different role that strengthens the bench, the platoon options, maybe a backup play. He can play anywhere for a given month if somebody's hurt. And then, you talk about right field. Well, Suzuki deficit, and you got all these other gloves everywhere else, but not in right field. You mentioned Pete Crow Armstrong. Now that Pete Crow Armstrong is an everyday player, and he's locked down that position, and he's elite defensively at that position, he covers more ground than most guys.
He does.
So all of a sudden, your right fielder has less responsibility.
That is true. I'll give you that.
You can get away with this and look really, really good.
So they make a massive move on a magnificent night for Chicago sports. The Cubs have inked Alex Bregman to a 5-year, $175 million deal. And all of a sudden, everybody that complained about the offseason, you can have a good rest of your day because your baseball team is moving in a very positive direction.
Credit where credit's due.
That's it. Take that.